Happy New Year's! And to my members that get this video early, I know it's coming out before New Year's, but Happy New Year's to you. I hope you have a good one as well. And with that, in today's video, we're going to be reacting to some of the craziest videos I found at the end of the year to bring into the new year. So let's get into it.
Why is the world map different now? Like, do you remember any of these things, or am I completely alone and crazy on this? Like, do you remember South America being this far east? I remember it being pretty well aligned with North America, but that's not the case anymore. So much so that the Panama Canal now runs north to south, not east to west. Don't remember that. This one really bothers me. Does anyone else out there remember Australia being turned counterclockwise and not in this orientation? Also, what the heck is New Zealand doing over there? It was not over there. It was not southeast. It was never southeast. What is happening over here? Do you remember the southern tip of South America and this little tip of Antarctica turning to face each other instead of both pointing in the same direction? Because it doesn't do that anymore. If any of this stuff feels weird to you, can you please let me know so that I don't feel so crazy anymore? And I'm sure there will be a healthy amount of people in the comments who are like, no, it was always like that. You're just uneducated and dumb. Let's just take a moment to remember that one of the most groundbreaking scientific achievements that just happened recently attributed its success to borrowing energy from parallel universes. This is theoretical, but let's just take a moment to think outside the box that just maybe these weird false memories that so many of us are having are actually due to something far weirder and stranger than we ever thought of before.
I am personally no map expert, so for anyone out there that is really familiar with maps, please let me know in the comments. Is any of this familiar to you, or has things changed?
We're all absolutely cooked in 2025. Maybe bro should be happy he's staying in 2024. Sort right here is Baba Vanga, a mystic who correctly predicted things such as 9/11, Diana's death, and millions of other things. She has predictions for literally like the next 50,000 years, even though she died back in the 90s. Before we go into what the predictions are for next year, and they're quite terrifying, it's the end of the year. Did any of the ones for this year come true? Yes. Made a video about a year ago today talking about her predictions for 2024. Of them, bright colours would light up the skies, causing people to go blind. We got the very rare spectacle of the Northern Lights, which is never normally visible in the US or UK. Didn't necessarily make people go blind, but it was extremely rare. It said there would be the death of a world leader, and although we didn't get that, we got pretty damn close. AI and robots getting more advanced and starting to edge closer to taking over. I mean, it's definitely more advanced. Large conflicts in the world. Definitely a few of them. Now, they may not be 100% accurate and all of these things happen, but it's still pretty scary, considering how long ago she was alive as well now. Let me know your thoughts and hit that follow button. I'll see you in the 2025 predictions video.
Well, I know end of year 2023 going into 2024, I predicted that we were going to have a lot more UFO sightings, and that happened sort of early in the year of 2024, and then it kind of died off, and then, you know, late 2024, we got the UAP and drones and whatever you want to call them. So I was kind of right on that. With 2025, I would like to say that I think that AI is going to be a big topic, a really, really big topic. Robots are definitely going to be a big topic, but I think that they're going to be big towards the end of 2025 leading into 2026, and then 2026 is going to be huge with robots. But for 2025, I definitely think that we're going to have more UFO, UAP action. I think that that's going to happen a lot more. And for some reason, the biggest one I think we're going to see a lot more of or hear a lot more about is Mandela effects. For some reason, that's just been coming up more and more and more. I think that 2025 is going to be the year of the Mandela effect. I think that's going to be the biggest one. Let me know in the comments what you guys think.
Scientists are currently working on creating mirror life in a petri dish, which is horrifying for a million reasons. Mirror genetics is a complex phenomenon that I do not have the scientific clout or ability to explain to you in full, but I can give it to you in layman's terms. Essentially, all life on Earth has genetics that are right-handed, and they are creating genetics and life that are left-handed. And there are scientists at the UN and elsewhere screaming about how this is probably a bad idea, because when the left-handed life comes in contact with the right-handed life might not know what the fuck to do with that. You create a mirror bacteria and it somehow gets into the ecosystem and nothing knows how to fight that. It says here that we were approximately 10 years away from being able to create this bizarro bacteria in a lab, and we probably should not be doing that. And yet,
I agree.
science marches forward, baby. Petition to amend that old saying about curiosity and the cat. I'm thinking something like, curiosity decimated the human race. That sounds good.
One of the worst things that's ever happened in Chicago's history, but it's actually really funny. It's probably one of the greatest poop stories I've ever heard in my entire life. I think it was in 2004. There was this architecture tour that went through the Chicago River. You know, it's 120 people on this big, big, massive boat. And they're just going through, and they have to go under a bridge called the Kinsey Bridge. But also going above the bridge is one of those massive tour buses that was actually loaned out to Dave Matthews Band because they were in town. And so the bus driver is going across this bridge, and this is one of those metal grate bridges. And the bus driver thinks that this is a good time to empty the black box of all the sewer. 800 pounds of pure waste and poop drizzled over and drenched 120 passengers on this boat. The guy described it as like the first, when you go into a car wash, the first layer of soap.
Because it would like vaporize as it falls.
Oh yes, they give everyone a refund.
A refund.
And guess what? Within an hour and a half, they had another tour, and they had it cleaned and ready for the next tour.
Wow.
In an hour and a half, I think they got every single thing.
No, I bet that was a
Dude, it's
smelly
crazy,
ride.
man. So now they have a plaque on the bridge that says, "No one died, but everyone wished they did."
Ugh, that's just nasty. Would that be a suable moment? You just had all these people's poop all over you. You're probably mentally traumatized. I feel like there's something that you could gain out of this because, dang.
What is this feeling where I'm so bored, but I don't want to see absolutely anyone I know? I don't want to be in my house, but I don't want to be outside. Like, I don't want to do anything ever again, but I'm bored as fuck.
I think some people would call that depression.
Allegedly, there's a new Mandela effect. If you grew up in the 90s or maybe even the early 2000s, you might have remembered these. You would go into Taco Bell, and on the countertop where you would place your order, you would see this little game. And if your coin landed on one of these little thingies here, you could turn the top and you could turn these around. And then if it landed on them, you would win one of these 25-cent bean burrito, a 10-cent crunchy taco, or a 5-cent cinnamon twist. The money would go towards helping a local teen graduate. So the Mandela effect was, were these filled with water or were they not? In this picture, you can clearly tell this is a Taco Bell from the purple background. You can also see their very distinctive receipt over here, and then the tile floors as well. And this one is not filled with water. Now this one looks slightly different. This wasn't the actual one at Taco Bell's. This may have been somewhere else, but you can tell this is some weird back room or something. I don't know, there's like a shoe and there's a blanket, but this one is filled with water, but this is not out on a Taco Bell countertop. And here's one that is available if you want to buy it on eBay. Now this cord here isn't electrical cord, it's just a metal cord that you would use to basically tether it down so that people couldn't just grab it and steal it. And here's the sign saying, "Did you miss me? We're back." My question is, if it never had water in it, why are the sides blue here? Why is this graphic indicating what looks like this could be water? But yet you can clearly see here, no water. And most of the other images that I found actually at a Taco Bell also did not have water in it. I specifically remember them having water because there's a part of me that remembers that like you would drop the coin and it would kind of like float like this down. So that's why I remember the water in there. So not unless maybe like they weren't supposed to have water in them, but people just filled them up with water anyway, depending on the location. And so maybe that's why people have different rememberings of this. So do you remember this? And do you remember it having water or no water?
I don't think I remember them with water. Hey, if you haven't done so already and you're enjoying the show, give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. For everyone that's currently watching and are subscribed, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. I would also like to give a special shout out to my members, so to everyone that you see on the screen, thank you so much for supporting my channel and being a member.
This actually really creeped me out last night. Like, I couldn't sleep after I heard about this. So the grandfather clock theory is about how people will own a grandfather clock and eventually it'll stop working. And then after something like creepy or catastrophic happens, the grandfather clock starts working again. So this happened after the very tragic California earthquakes, the stuff I'm going to talk about in this video, but this has happened after like 9/11, after like family members have tragically passed away in like freak accidents, just like wild coincidences. So after the earthquake in California hit, this clock had not been ticking for 5 years and this creator posted that it started working again. And then it continued to work like nothing had ever happened. And this is not the only person to report this happening after the California earthquake. And this person, it was the same thing. It'd been 5 or 6 years since the grandfather clock had worked. It stopped working during the pandemic. After the earthquake hit, it started working again. And there are so many other examples of creators talking about this. And then on top of that, all of these creators are talking about how the time on the clock is somehow the exact time that it currently is, even though the clock hadn't been working for 5 or 6 years and it randomly started working again. How does that happen? That makes no sense. You don't need to set it. The clock knew what time it was. Is this a warning? Did we shift timelines? Grandfather clocks have always creeped me out. My cousins had one when I was growing up. And it was it would go off, the noise would chime late at night, and it would always freak me out a little bit.
I personally would love to have a grandfather clock. I've always wanted one, but my wife is a little creeped out by them as well. Let me know in the comments, are any of you guys creeped out by grandfather clocks? Or have you had one and it did something similar to this story?
Look here, a Tesla is just randomly swerving into oncoming traffic without any obstacle. But then in this scenario, the Tesla is swerving around the crash on the freeway with multiple obstacles and just getting past every single one. So in both of these scenarios, we know that autopilot was driving. Either the full self-driving in a Tesla is smartest, craziest driver ever, or it's just an old person without their glasses. Personal injury lawyers, comment below or stitch this video and let us know what you think.
Yo, I can't help but wonder, where the heck does this go? I'm out here on this random road in the middle of Central Park, and there's just this thing here. There's just this brick wall, and there's just something eerie about it. There was another place just like that down the road, but I don't know, guys. Something about this wall, man.
That would be nice to figure out.
Sketchy.
The sightings of beings in the sky continue. This footage was submitted by a man named Victor. He glanced outside of his house and noticed something weird in the clouds, what appears to be a humanoid being standing above the cloud. Now, as he starts recording it, it doesn't look like a cloud. It truly looks like a humanoid figure. But is it? And if it is, what the heck is it? Take a look at this video and tell me what you think.
You can zoom in more on Instagrams. It's a silhouette, right, of someone.
I do kind of see the silhouette, but I do think it's the clouds.
It's actually quite fascinating, though.
I think that that's the clouds personally. Let me know what you guys think.
Alright. Hit me out, TikTok. Am I going crazy? So, I have an outdoor cat, and I bought him a can of Fancy Feast. Fancy Feast Turkey and Giblets Feast. There's all the information. This is what I found today. This hair is growing out of the food that wasn't ate.
Stop touching it.
And it's
your
coarse
bare
hair.
hands.
It's the same color as my cat, but my cat is a short hair cat. What's happening here? Am I oblivious to this, or is this normal?
I don't know. That looks disgusting, and I would never feed my cat or any animal that. That doesn't look like normal mold or anything. Let me know in the comments of what you think that is, or do you think that this is a hoax? Nonetheless, pretty nasty. And it says in the description that that hair grew within 5 days.
So with the random uptick in Sasquatch sightings in California, we had this video right here. If you just missed it, he's about to pick up this tree. And so from the length he's at, these trees are like 20, 25 foot. And this thing is able to uproot the trees. And I got something crazy to show you in 1 minute. Here's their reaction. But what if I told you that Sasquatch imagery made it into a biblical vision? We'll get there. Now here's me screen recording it, going back and forth very slowly so you can clearly see this humanoid shaped object literally plucks up this tree. like a 20-foot tree, maybe, because they're really
I don't
far.
see the humanoid.
And carries it over where he put the first tree. If you missed the first tree, right here. So this right here is an Orthodox monastery, and it's based off a vision of John. What is that? That looks like a Sasquatch, right? What's he doing here?
How can people not see that he's mocking us? Check this out right here from one of the biggest propaganda accounts on X, where Mr. Tony Musk will live stream Path of Exile later today on X. I don't think people realize how profound that post was. For this guy right here is leading millions of people down the eternal path of exile. And of course, how prophetic is it that he is the top Diablo 4 player in the world, where he loves to post about the pit tier, which I'm sure the spirit behind Mr. Musk comes from the bottomless pit of Revelation 9:11, and they had as a king over them the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, kind of like a bad dawn, but in Greek he has the name Apollyon. Now look, I understand to 90% of individuals who watch this will think this is nonsense and there's nothing going on here, but I'm telling you right now, he is leading millions of people down the eternal path of exile, away from God, complete rebellion, the Tower of Babel 2.0, where humans are making up their own God in their own image through artificial intelligence. He will be the savior of the world. Artificial intelligence will be the savior, not Jesus Christ. No, it will be a system that man has constructed where they will put a king for them, which will be the Antichrist, which I'm sure they will have a tie there with technology and the fallen angels, which will come as aliens, whatnot. But do not allow this guy to deceive you. He is not on your side. He does not care about you. He has an agenda. He has plans set in motion that are ancient, truly ancient, and don't fall for that path. Narrow is the way, and few find it. Keep your eyes focused upon the Lord. Do not be deceived. Do not be sucked into this world during this end time scenario that is unfolding in front of our eyes, guys. Really, finish the race strong, okay? Do not be deceived out there. With that, I love you all so much. God bless. Remember, the just shall live by faith.
I mean, the biggest thing for me is I don't understand how someone that's doing so many things in the world has the time to be such a high-ranked player in a game, especially one like Diablo. That kind of blows my mind more than anything.
What in the world is going on with the chickens? This is insane. This thing is like swollen and all this liquid is just like pouring out of its mouth. So there's been a whole bunch of reports lately of chickens getting mysteriously sick or just passing away in general. And I've seen other chickens on Twitter just crazy sick, looking like zombies. And there's something affecting more than just chickens that we're about to get into. But watch this real quick.
What is this? I've never seen this in my life.
And she had also reported that some of her chickens passed away before this one even did this. And check this out, that bird sickness going on. And this whole virus that's spreading around has been found in 659 out of California's dairies, out of 984. So the question is obviously, what's going to happen with all the animals?
Concerning new CDC report on the first severe human case of birth.
TikTok. All I've done in this video was provide you guys with information and facts of things that are happening. This is pretty crazy. Let me know your thoughts below.
The only thing that I could possibly think of with that chicken is that it might have what's called sauerkraut, but if so, that's a really bad case of it. That was really bad.
You want to know where the Garden of Eden is? Come on, I'll show you. It's in Asgard. Now they say the Garden of Eden is in the North Pole, but why has nobody ever found it, you know? And then we talk about the Rupus nigra. Nobody's ever seen it. But if it's in the North Pole, somebody should have, right? There should have been some sort of discovery. In Christianity, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, or the tree of life, is represented by an apple. Coincidentally, Idun was the Norse goddess who had these apples that the gods, when they were getting old, they would bite into and they would become young again. And then Loki, aka Satan, who is the god of this earth, the god of this realm, because he came down with 1/3 of the cherubim and seraphim and took over earth. This is the same story. Long story short, Loki tricks Eden to get out of the garden, getting rid of the apples. All the gods start to age. He has to bring her back. This is a map of Asgard. Let's take a closer look. Oh my days. Former passage to Earth. Midgard, the Rainbow Bridge, Bifrost. What does that sound like? Let's take a look at this Terra Infinite map. Oh, where is Asgard? Right between the entrance of the ice walls. And this is where J.R.R. Tolkien got his idea for the gates of Argonath. It was taken from the idea of the Colossus of Rhodes, the Egyptian Colossi, and the Pillars of Hercules. These are the cherubim that God sent to guard the gates of Eden. You look in your Bible to Isaiah chapter 11 verse 12. And gathered the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The four corners of the earth are the four corners of Asgard. For the nail in the coffin, this is the Garden of Eden, the Rupus Nigra. Look what falls right on top of that perfectly. New Asgard. The ice wall is not a wall. Those are the bars to the prison planet that we live on. There's your garden. There's your Rupus Nigra. Peace and love, everybody.
And I don't want to go way down the alien abduction rabbit hole here, but the Greys, and I'm going to tell you this, matter of factly, the Greys are real. 100% real.
I mean, thousands of people have seen them.
Yes, many, many people have encountered them. I have friends who have encountered the Greys. One of my friends actually reached out and strangled one until she was deactivated.
Oh my gosh.
The gray aliens are real. Now, what exactly they are, there's a lot of speculation out there. Most of what we know about gray aliens comes from the alien abduction material. This is not fiction. There's a body of evidence that you could prove a case in court with. It's got physical evidence, anecdotal evidence, proof associated with alien abduction that is undeniable. So gray aliens are real, and there's a lot we could say about that. By the way, David Grush said as much in his testimony, that biologicals have been recovered, non-human biologicals. We're talking about gray aliens here. That's the primary group that's operating in our airspace. It's not the only group.
Okay, y'all. I need to show you guys my air filter in my house. There's fog everywhere, and I've been feeling like respiratory issues for like a couple days now, like basically since the fog started. And I decided after seeing all the fog videos on TikTok, I would come and change my filter, which I do every month because I keep them on deck. I have like, ooh, Lord, I have like 8 of these and they're expensive, but I keep them on deck because I like clean air. This is a new one. Let me show you what my new one looks like. This is a new one, okay? It's a MERV 11 filter. Now, keep in mind, I just changed this filter like a month ago. Let me show you the one that I'm about to pull out. What? What in the actual fuck? Look at this filter, y'all. I've never pulled out a filter this dark in my life. This is not normal. It's black.
That is a dark filter.
Look at the new one. Oh my God, y'all. Oh my God. This is fucking crazy. I'm sorry. This isn't normal, yo. It's not normal. This fog is not normal. This is not normal. Never in my life have I ever seen a filter like this. Never.
That is a pretty nasty looking filter, and I have to say, I also keep my filters regularly changed, and mine don't look that bad. But I have had a lot of fog in my area, and it's been really smelly fog. A lot of people said in the comments of my last couple of videos that they've also experienced a lot of unusual fog in their area. It is weird, and it definitely does seem like it's messing with my sinuses a lot. And I notice a lot of other people are suffering from illnesses as well. Maybe it's just that time of the season, but the fog makes it seem a little suspicious.
Maybe there are beings among us that science isn't ready to confront. For centuries, the rivers and swamps of Africa have been home to legends, but none are as terrifying as the story of the dingonek. Described as a creature part leopard, part scorpion, the dingonek has haunted the edges of Lake Victoria and the Congo River Basin, lurking in the water, waiting for those who wander too close. With saber-like teeth, scales, and a tail rumored to resemble that of a scorpion, this predator is said to be territorial territorial. But is it real? In 1907, British explorer John Alfred Jordan claimed he faced the beast. While traveling through Kenya, he spotted the dingoneck near the water's edge. Jordan fired his gun, but to his horror, the creature didn't flee. It charged. A scaled body, rippling with raw power, surged toward him. He barely escaped, but the story of the encounter rippled across the region, fueling fears of what might be hiding in the wilderness. Locals have whispered about the dingoneck for generations, calling it by different names, like Olumaina among the Maasai tribes. Some call it a spirit of the rivers. Skeptics dismiss these accounts as folklore, chalking them up to misidentified crocodiles or otters. But what if they're wrong? Maybe the dingoneck is more than a myth. Maybe it's still lurking in the depths of Africa's untouched waters. What do you believe?
Well, I really hope that an armadillo, dogfish, saber-toothed tiger, alligator really doesn't exist, because that would be terrifying.
I just found a worm in this nestling. Look, it's been 10 whole months, right? 10 months. Has not molded, has not melted. It's been in storage shed for months. It's been outside for months. No bugs will even touch it. But I just found a bug. Now you tell me what on earth that is. Actually, it's not,
Ew, don't touch
Look
it.
at that, barely squished. Still, after 10 months, it's almost a year. 10 months and it hasn't molded or melted? How is that even possible,
It
dude?
looks
I
pretty
mean,
melted
look,
to me.
I don't even know what to say, man. Like, it's just, bro, it just blows my mind. I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. I really hope RFK does what he says he's going to do. He gets rid of crap like this right here, because this is just not okay, man.
It's not okay to have that in a dish for 10 months. Honestly, if I were you, just throw the whole thing away at this point.
The following video is from a woman named Macy out of New Jersey. She owns a couple of properties, and one in particular has captured the internet's attention. As you look at the house, she goes into it, it's normal, right? It's until they find a trap door leading to what should be the basement. But as she begins to explore, it's literally a house on top of a house. Who built this and why? And honestly, her question's valid. How many people were living down there? And who were they? Take a look at this and tell me what you think.
Tell me that's not creepy. This is one of our properties, okay? There's like a sink in every room. Look at the steps. They're really dangerous. Whoever built these. But what it says, stairs, basement. Whatever this is, okay? It's very dangerous. Look at this little step. Look at this step. Okay, then you come down here. I'm gonna turn my flash on. Okay. Those are the stairs. This is the first room. There was like tons of people living down here. Okay.
Dang. I think that's pretty cool, actually. I would love to have a little house on the top with this massive house underneath it. I think that's awesome. It needs some improvement, but I don't think there's anything odd or suspicious about this. That just looked like a really big basement.
The following footage was captured by a passenger on a commercial airline. They were glancing outside when they noticed something weird, what appeared to be beings standing on top of the clouds. And it's more than one. But what is it? couldn't possibly be humans out there.
That does
What
look
did they
like people.
capture? Take a look at this.
That's either a really good optical illusion and that's just snow when they're seeing people standing out in the snow, or those are just really weird cloud formations in the cloud, or they're just people standing in the clouds, because those look like people.
People with ADHD do not experience grief like normal people. People that have ADHD, our grieving process is very different than other people. Comment your experience down below. A lot of times when it comes to grief with ADHD, there's an object permanence there. We miss somebody, but it's almost like out of sight, out of mind in a sense, that the missing is there, but it's not as extreme. And so for us to grieve, the worst part is we don't get it out of our system. We don't know how to grieve very easily. And you almost have to find special grief counselors to help you grieve, to help you actually get these emotions out, to get the trauma out, because without that, our brain will literally shut it down, file it away, and move on to the next task. And this is something I wish I would have known, because I lost my dad to suicide. I lost a wife to suicide. And I did not grieve them at all very well. And it wasn't that I didn't necessarily grieve them. I just filtered them away, out of sight, out of mind. There's a lot of trauma there. There's a lot of hurt there that is truly there, that has happened to you. But because it's not directly in front of your face, your brain moves on to the next thing. Well, that is still inside you, festering away. And again, it is something that I wish I would have known. There are specialty therapists out there for grief and grief only. It is something to definitely do. I got diagnosed with ADD at 13, re-diagnosed with ADHD at 17. And the more that we share what we've been through, the more we share what we experience, the more that it helps those out there who are struggling not struggle nearly as much, because you do deserve to heal, and it does get better.
That's when Richard Gilson started hitting glass outside his Jersey Shore home.
That was actually in the ground, this jar.
Near the glass was what he thought were root balls. He tossed them to the side, but days later discovered something strange about the object.
One of those root balls popped up. Lo and behold, it wasn't a root ball. It was actually $1,000 wrapped in burlap. These are $100 rolls of 10s and 20s. And, you know, he had them all wrapped up in a $1,000 bundle.
There were 2 wads of cash dating back to 1934.
When we looked it up, the value of $2,000 back in 1934 was $40,000.
Initially, Gilson thought the money must have been tied to a bank robbery some 9 decades earlier, but learned the property was owned by a James Dempsey during the Great Depression, and that the owner had asked his daughter to bury the money somewhere in the front yard.
It's a lot of money, but it's not life-changing, obviously. I think the story's more interesting, the history of the fact that this fella did this 90-some years ago. And people had asked me, what are you going to do with it? Well, I'm certainly not going to spend it.
My grandmother and most of her family actually hid a lot of money, a lot of different gold, a lot of different coppers, silvers around in mason jars across their property. It's just a shame it wasn't a really efficient way to hold your money and keep track of it. In fact, probably a lot of older people forgot where they even buried it in the first place.
2023? Former President Jimmy Carter passes away at 98 in 2023? What in the Mandela effect is going on? This is for entertainment. We all know that he just passed away yesterday. Jimmy Carter passes away July 23rd at 99? At his home peacefully in Plains, Georgia? I'm confused. And this right behind me is actually an archive from the internet, from old internet pages. Passes away at 98. Again, we all know that he just passed away yesterday, right? Like the yesterday article says, Jimmy Carter, peacemaking president, passes away at 100. December 29th, 2024. Let me ask y'all a question real quick. Do y'all by chance remember somebody passing away? Maybe a few different times? And this actually gets kind of crazy because the frequency of our Earth is going insane. The same way in the movies that when a time portal is opened, everything looks crazy out. I wonder if there's any other changes around us that are physically visible. But I don't know. Did someone screw with a portal recently? A portal that would push a massive shift? that would maybe bring on a Class X solar flare. A lot of things to think about right here. Make sure y'all stay tuned because later I have a mind-blowing discovery to show y'all.
Remember back in the 1930s when archaeologists found an Egyptian temple buried in eastern Tennessee? That's okay, not a lot of people do. But back in 1934, they were building something called Norris Dam, just north of Knoxville, Tennessee. The Tennessee Valley Authority started surveying the valley that the Norris Dam was going to flood. They found many native mounds and started excavating a bit, and found some really extraordinary things. As they started digging, they found layer after layer, and went down over 20 foot until they found a 100-foot by 100-foot platform with a large raised area in the center. They called this a temple. As they dug deeper and deeper, they found multiple skeletons on the site, unlike any that they'd found in the area. And the site itself kept getting deeper and deeper. It appeared to just keep going. At the time, it caused quite an uproar, and over 400 workers were excavating that site. They found multiple relics that were unlike anything they had seen in the area, including a pigment box that held a shade of purple that could only be found in sea mollusks and was completely unknown in North America. The site gained the attention of James Randall Harris, a professor of ancient languages from Cambridge and later Johns Hopkins University. Harris came up with some very interesting conclusions. And I quote, "The Hopewell," he writes, "were latecomers who raised the mounds of earth over a much older temple built by pharaonic Egyptian emigres to their most important deities, Isis, the Queen of Heaven, and her husband, Osiris, the god of resurrection." I have his book on order, as well as the 400-page book on the excavation from the Smithsonian, so I'll undoubtedly be speaking about this more in a future video. But for now, that area has some very interesting correspondences with legends from the Cherokee. The Cherokee have legends about a group of priesthood that lived in their area called the Anikutani. This priesthood was wiped out. Now I'm going to read this directly from a historical source, so you know it's not my words. Quote, from Cherokee Principal Chief Charles Hicks in 1826 in his manuscript, The History of the Cherokee People, the mound builders were greatly weakened by a plague. We entered the North Carolina mountains from the west, and we killed and drove off the mound builders. We burned their temples atop the mounds and then constructed our towns and houses on the mounds. The Cherokee never built any mounds. Further on, quote, the Anikutani professed themselves, as stated by the traditioners, to be the teachers of heavenly knowledge from the creation, and the manner of their introduction to the assembled people is usually at night, and it usually came with the words, I am from above. The name was a foreign word to the Cherokee. A Katani came to mean somebody who starts a fire or a sorcerer. These tales all come from the area of eastern Tennessee, right where that temple is. And that temple is now under a lake.
This is another one that's really been popping up a lot this year, is the whole Egypt in America type deal. And is it out of the realm of possibility that Egyptians used to live on this continent that we call America? Very well possible. I have no doubt that something like that could have happened. Let me know your thoughts on this one. Heck yeah. You know, that's funny because I've done something very similar from when I was a kid. It was for a different reason though. For some reason in my head when I was a child, I thought when I died, the world just restarted and we just did the same thing over again. So what I did is I took a bunch of my toys and I buried a hole maybe 4 foot deep. And I don't remember how old I was, not very old. And I just put all my toys in there and I just buried the hole back up. I'm like, you know, when I reset, I'm gonna dig this hole back up and I'm gonna find all of my toys in here. Craziest thing. Maybe in the future people will dig that up and they'll be like ancient relics of the past. That kind of stuff is funny to me because people are probably gonna dig that up and have all kinds of crazy thoughts.
What's hiding in the fog? Let's take a closer look.
I would like to do something like
what
this
is
personally.
That? Is that an orb or something hidden? In 2016, Russia covered an entire city in fog for a military exercise. Chemical fog has been used by militaries for years now to hide infrastructure. Could the UK fog be a military exercise resulting from the 2025 risk assessment? Maybe just weather, but with reports of strange smells with the fog maybe. Keep an open mind. Look behind the curtain, or in this case, look above the fog.
I mean, I would love to take a drone and just go way up into the fog because I do feel like that there's something up there. Kind of reminds me of the movie The Mist. You know, all the stuff that we've had happen earlier this year with CERN and all of that. What if we opened up a portal and now the mist is finally starting to come through, you know? It's definitely dense fog, that's for sure. Or mist, if you will. There's a lot of these types of videos right now floating on TikTok. It was the drones, now it's the fog. So I'm trying not to overplay too many fog videos, but there is a lot of them.
Epcot, do you know what Epcot stands for? Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. And Epcot is so precious to me because that's where I did my Disney College program in Mouse Gear that is now closed. Epcot was originally conceived by Walt Disney during the early development of Walt Disney World. What would the city have looked like?
Tell us.
It would have been circular in shape, and in the middle you'd find a central hub with a convention center. From there, 4 other rings of development would fan out with businesses, houses, apartments, and green spaces.
So it was just going to be a big town?
A big town. It was going to house 20,000 people.
It sounds like the occult.
Their rail would not have been a train, it would have been a monorail. Of course, because Disney was obsessed with the monorail, which he introduced in 1959 at a much smaller scale at California's Disneyland. And his intention was for it to be a company town, so all citizens of the Jetsons-esque city would be working at Disney.
That sounds like
That's a flippin' cult.
We don't pay you, but you live here. And you
Yes.
can never leave.
And you're
Because
never
there's
gonna die.
There's no roads in, no roads out. It's the only city where no one's ever died. Sorry.
They become the animatronics.
Hey, that's actually not a bad idea if you're someone that really loves Disney and you can be someone that works for Disney, gets paid by Disney, and is qualified because you work for Disney to live at their park. That's actually not a bad setup, in my opinion. Let me know your guys' thoughts about that one.
You happened with LeBron though.
Nah, what happened to LeBron?
You didn't hear recently?
No.
Okay, so right now he's what? He's injured, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people are okay. So
I would usually know shit about this.
yeah, you don't know this?
No.
Okay, so there's a conspiracy theorist. I can't say his name.
Yeah.
I have the video.
Okay.
I'm gonna show it to you, but we can't say his name because he's banned on like all platforms.
Yeah.
Now he always comes out with a conspiracy that ends up being true later on. Now he says he has insider info and rumors. The reason LeBron was injured or leaving the country, because I think it could just be for vacation, fam. It's
Yeah,
Christmas,
obviously.
right?
Yeah. But LeBron usually doesn't take games off.
Really?
No. He has like the most minutes.
Okay, so it adds up a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, what he says is they've dug deeper onto the Diddy incident.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, and LeBron might be facing
Charges?
Some charges. Yeah.
Ah, I knew it.
So he's leaving the country.
Yeah, because there was a video that he went live with Diddy.
Actually?
Oh, you didn't see this one? When it was in quarantine.
No,
And
I didn't see it.
Diddy was with all his sons and daughters.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they're like, ain't no party like a Diddy party. And LeBron.
Oh, no, I did see that.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah,
And
yeah.
He's like,
Bronny's in
yeah,
it too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I skip a party. We're here.
He's like, Bronny, come here, just dance for Diddy, bro.
Yo, but I'm telling you, fam, if this ends up being true, that he actually left for that and it's not because of thing,
Yeah.
we're just seeing it like unfold right in front of our eyes, some shit. Like we literally think he's just injured, but we
Yeah.
also just sound crazy because he could just be injured.
Yeah, there might be like some shit going on in private, like maybe some court stuff in private. We don't know, but like.
Here, I'm gonna show you this is the famous conspiracy theorist.
I'd forgotten about that. That's how much intel I get. This is a very good source.
So it's a very good source, apparently.
Today, I get another call by someone very close to me, very well known. They said, we don't care. Go ahead and say it. He said, hey, LeBron James just sold his Florida condo 2 weeks ago
Damn.
and has left the country. And they got specifically,
Yo, not LeBron.
you can imagine how,
Not LeBron.
that it's over P. Diddy.
That's crazy. If that's true, that's true. That's unfolding in front of our eyes, like right now.
A lie?
Damn,
Fuck.
LeBron though. Isn't that
Yeah.
wild though?
Yeah, but
Okay, what do you think? Let's take bets. Let's take bets because this could just all be fake.
Yeah, I know.
This shit could just all be conspiracy. That's not true.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a bet. Do you think it's real? Do you think LeBron did
I hope
do some
it's
shit?
not. I hope it's not. But LeBron, fuck fam, he's in a place of power, so it's like I don't want to believe it, but there's chances. Cause fam, that's Hollywood at the end of the day.
I feel like they're homies.
Yeah, like
So he might just been in the mix.
he
though.
might be in the mix. Oh yeah, I don't think it was LeBron, but he might be in the mix.
I would also like to know your thoughts and theories about this as well. Do you think that maybe he's just injured, or do you think that there's something more going on? Jeez, that's terrifying. That thing's as big as that car. It also says in the description that they're in Texas, so what?
For no reason at all, I'm gonna show you guys what's been in the sky while we've been preoccupied and unable to see in the sky in many different places. You see that? What in the world is this in front of the moon? By the way, it's not a branch, it's 3 different angles. Moving on. It's not just the moon. Look at the reflection down here, by the way. 1, 2, 3. What's going on with the sun, you guys? Where are these orbs flying around the sun? It seems like something really weird's going on, right? I mean, who knows? Maybe some kind of portal got opened lately. What is this? And we've been distracted in many different ways lately, especially in the northern United States, the Northeast. Pretty weird. What in the fudge would you call this? And we just saw this in a whole different place at a different time. By the way, look how condensed the air is. This was in Manchester. That's absolutely insane. All over the United States, all over the UK, all over the place. You could even see it in these plane pictures. In every single one of them. This looks like a scary movie. But this right here, and this right here is in Germany. Like, what are we even looking at? Do y'all think it's normal when the auroras come all the way to the South United States? Because it's really not normal, you guys. I have a crazy video on this tomorrow. Because we have a crazy geomagnetic storm coming. These geomagnetic events have a lot to do with radioactivity. And spirituality. Like I said, I'll explain tomorrow.
I killed a huge electric eel one time. And that's the most dangerous thing in the water.
When you say huge, how big?
Probably 7 feet, I'd say. Well, we were walking in the jungle and we were crossing a stream. And as we're crossing it, I looked down and I said, Jacko, there's an eel. And he said, oh, we got to kill it. We got to kill it because if someone stepped into that little pool of water, that's a problem.
Oh, wow.
Electric eels are deadly. This head was huge, this electric eel. It was like that big.
Bro.
And I said, Jacko, throw me your machete, because I positioned myself above the eel. The eel's head was right there, and I was on a log above it. And I sunk the machete into its head, and it was literally like sticking my finger into the socket. I was, I mean, it was intense. Thank God that the machete went flying out of my hand. And Jacko just was, he said, that's not how you kill an electric eel. I said, well, why didn't you tell me that before I did it? He was just laughing. He wanted to see that happen. So we had like 5 spears sticking in it. And if you touched them, you'd get zapped. And as it was dying, it was less and less until eventually we could grab it. And we hauled it out of the water. Both of us had to do it together. We lifted it out on the spear. So it's like spicketed on this spear. And we lifted it over our shoulder. And he's carrying the tail. And here comes Paisano in his canoe. I said, Paisano, we got lunch. Nope. He said, nope.
No way. That's the one
thing? I said, why not? Like, I was all excited to eat it.
Yeah.
He said, it's the mother of malaria. We don't eat it.
So Timothy's already like a couple bites in. You're like, wait, what?
Imagine chilling on your couch, looking over and seeing this thing looking at you through your screen door. Apparently, that's what happened in this video. Person was hanging out on their couch. They look over and they see whatever this is looking back at them. At first, I thought it was a cow, but when you look, it doesn't look like it has hoofs. It looks like it has hands. What's really tripping me out is the lower half of it is lower than the front. So it almost looks like it's sitting on its knees. It also doesn't have ears. And apparently this was taken in the Appalachian Mountains. I'm no animal expert by any means, but at first I thought it was a cow or a goat or something. But like I said, it doesn't have hoofs. And the lower part of its body is lower than the top part of its body. Like it's crouched down looking at this person in here. Some people are even saying that it's Sasquatch. I don't know. What is this thing? And why is it in the Appalachian Mountains?
You better be careful out there.
What?
I don't know what that was.
Wait, turn around, go again.
I don't know if I want it to come at me. Like out.
What is that?
I don't know what that is.
Many people that have been chronically stuck in functional freeze hold this shadow belief that they are intrinsically lazy, but they're not. And this comes from this experience of functional freeze, which is this blended nervous system state where there is both shutdown and activation present. And it creates this feeling of, I know I need to do things, but I simply cannot physically bring myself to do them. it creates this stuckness in the body, but it's also this experience of having levels of hypervigilance. So having constant thoughts going about all the things that you need to do, but physically feeling like you're in a state of paralysis. So you know that you want to get up, unload the dishwasher, and make yourself a nice dinner, but you feel that you are stuck on the couch, scrolling social media or watching TV or just maladaptive daydreaming. And this can really reinforce this belief that you are inherently lazy and that there's something wrong with you and that you just don't have the mental fortitude to make yourself do things. When actually you are in functional freeze, which this is exactly the experience of it, activation and shutdown combined.
To me, I think that if you're stuck on the phone or if you're too busy watching TV and you feel all these things and you think all these things, maybe the things that you're stuck on, you should just quit in general. You stop using your phone if you feel like you're just stuck scrolling on your phone. Stop watching TV if you feel like you're just watching TV all the time, you know? Like, I get that you want to just chill and relax, but if it's making you feel all these negative things or think all these negative things, then you need to cut that out so that you can fix on the things that are making you feel negative. And I know it's not as easy said as done, but that's just how I kind of accomplish it, because if my body had its way, I'd just be in the house watching Let's Plays and all different types of videos on YouTube, and I could do that all day. But I have a lot of things to get done on a daily basis, so I can't just do that. So I have to continuously keep going. But I can definitely understand the feeling of not wanting to and feeling stuck, if you will. Definitely not fun.
What's an ambivert?
So ambiverts get energy from the right people in the right places. Ambiverts can dial up extroversion to hit their goals. So if they know they have to be friendly and meet people for an interview or a position, they can do it. But they need lots of recharge time. The reason why it's important to know if you're an ambivert is because you should know what are the people and places that drain you. There are certain people, when you open your calendar and you look at it and you're like, oh, I have to be with that person. That is someone that drains you. There are also certain people who you feel you could talk to for hours. They give you social energy. They charge your social battery. So the very first thing I have students do is sit and make a list. Who are the people who give you energy, who charge you up? Who are the people who take from you? Those are people that we want to put boundaries around, we want to say no to, we want to limit as much as possible. And then also the places. Where do you thrive? Is it conferences, one-on-one business? Or is it friends, socializing, parties? Knowing those places helps you optimize your social battery.
Do you believe we could be in a timeline shift? My husband and I are extremely routine people. And I know there's a lot of Americans like me out there. We have to be, because we have to make sure we're getting the right sleep, nutrition, we're making time for ourselves, but we work a lot, right? So for years, we've always gotten up at the same time. We've always gone to work at the same time. We've always gotten home at the same time. And we've always gone on a walk as soon as we get home before I make dinner. Always. I'm about to show you something. So now I want to show you some pictures taken over the last few years. And these are pictures I've uploaded to Facebook. So I made sure to screenshot the dates so that you can see they're like roughly the same time frames. Okay, I want you to look down in the corner. See, it says October 8th, 2022, okay? See where that sun is? Okay, now watch. Here's October 18th, 2022. October 19th, 2023. November 26th, 2023. See how bright it is outside? So this is November 26th, 2023, last year, okay?
Okay, so this is around the time we would actually be at this spot normally, and there's still about a quarter mile or so to go to the spot where you'll see the pictures. So you've seen in the prior pictures how bright it was still when I took those pictures, and the sun was still up. And now you see the sun would normally be right about over here, because we're normally down there. So it would usually be like right over here.
Hey, I would have liked to seen the October photo, but hey, I do understand it is much darker, but it's also a little later in the season than what she showed in those previous photos, so I kind of feel a little gypped out on that one.
You ever just walk around sometimes and look at people and be like, yeah, that's a demon. That person is demonic. Like, you just look into their eyes and there's no soul there, but they're just roaming Earth as a free-spirited human being with seemingly free will, but really they're just a demon. Like a literal, like, demon walking the earth. You can see it in their face. Like, who can see this? Who else can see this? Because, like, 1 out of 20 people is like, yeah, definitely. Look at the eyes. Definitely demon. Yeah. Like, 1 out of 10 scientists agree.
I don't know if anybody comes to mind. Kenneth Copeland, I think that's his name, the preacher dude. That guy, straight up demon. Let me know in the comments who comes to mind when you think of, yeah, when I see that guy's eyes, that's like a demon on earth.
So literally a week before we met, he wished on a shooting star to meet me, and I wished on a shooting star to meet him on the very same night, on the very same shooting stars, 45 minutes away. Met the next week. Now we're married. Asked me to be his girlfriend on 11/11. We go to the store to buy him a very specific watch that he wanted. He sold the last one yesterday. Oh no, except they have one. And we're like, oh, what's wrong with it? And they're like, yeah, it's actually on for $100. This is a $250 watch. Because it's engraved. We're like, okay, well, give it to us anyway. What's it engraved with? Are you fucking kidding me?
You can't make it up.
That's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. That is destined to happen, I guess. Congratulations to those guys.
I can't show you how much of this behind me, but why in the world has 3 planes gone down in the last 24 hours? That gives me really strong Donnie Darko vibes. The latest one was in Canada. You remember a few months ago when I talked about not getting on planes? You know, I'm sure it seemed pretty random at the time, but what about now? Like, this right here is absolutely crazy. And at the same time, we're having a huge plane problem for planes that did not go down. And some that did, but you know, they have a lot in common if you're good at using your eyes. Because just recently, Boeing was in the headlines for a while. And this right here is completely not related at all. I just thought it was crazy how we have dual sheets of clouds and they both look ridiculous. We even have an article from Fox Weather saying Florida becomes the unsunshine state and during its cloudiest winter period in 84 years. And that was last year. And this year, the fog and everything else is absolutely insane. This right here has been our viewing conditions in South Carolina for the last 4 days, ever since Christmas. And then randomly in the middle of the night, I should have reported we had an ungodly storm. And when I tell you guys, I've never seen a storm that bad here. The whole entire house was shaking. There was like some crazy strong vibration with this storm. And we haven't seen nothing yet. This massive polar vortex is coming. I wouldn't be surprised if the entire sky froze, if you know what I mean.
Man, that is really scary with the planes, and that's one of the things that in 2025, I hope it's not true. I have a feeling we're about to see and hear about a lot of things going wrong with planes and their engines. We'll see what 2025 holds for them. Alright guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end today's episode. Like I said earlier, I hope you guys have a good new year. Hopefully we can start this new year off with a bang. And just to sum up my predictions of what do I think is gonna happen in 2025. Last year I thought in 2023 to bring into 2024, it was gonna be all about UFOs and aliens, and I was kind of right, but not really. It just hit near the end of the year. But with this year 2025, I'm predicting that we're going to have way more UFO, UAP sightings, more than ever. And I know I said that last year, but I'm talking about even more than what we've had in the year 2024. With that, I also think for some reason Mandela effects are going to really start popping off. Like new Mandela effects are going to start coming out of nowhere. And the next big one is two in the same in a way, and that's AI and automated robots. I think that that's going to be something really big in 2025, but we'll see. 2026 definitely for the robots, but I think 2025 is going to be a big year for AI as well. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts of what you think 2025 is going to bring as far as the realm of like what we react to and things like that, and or in general. And as always, if you enjoyed any of the clips that we watched today, links are in the description down below. And with that being said, have a good day and Happy New Year.